Hi guys, welcome to 100 Hours, 100 Stars. It's an initiative, it's a non-stop tribute to COVID warriors and मैं हूँ Manasa आपके साथ. I host Mad Mornings for Fever 94.3 FM and with me is one of my favorite sports personalities, former world number one, Olympian, Padma Shri awardee, Arjuna awardee, badminton player, Srikanth Kidambi. Welcome, welcome. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing great.
You're doing
How are you?
great. I'm good. I'm good. Locked up. I'm doing my bit. In this COVID-19 crisis. Where are you doing your quarantine time? Your lockdown. Where is it happening?
So I'm in Guntur. So this is my hometown.
Right.
So I'm just having some quality time with my family. So yeah, it's like I'm kind of enjoying it.
That's good. I live alone, so I'm not having quality time with anybody else but myself.
That is also a good way to spend some quality time with yourself, unless you are working from home.
I am. I'm
I can
working.
clearly see you are doing it.
Yeah, but how does it feel to be interviewed by me for I don't know 100 times? It's been years since I've known you, and I've done so many interviews with you. Does it feel different, Srikanth?
Oh, not anymore.
Not any. They're all same.
They're not the same. It's more about it's more like a chat rather than an interview now.
True, true.
Initially, it was probably a more formal way of answering questions, but maybe now it's more about chatting.
True, true. But this one is a little different because it's for a good cause. And we are doing this 100 hours, 100 stars initiative because we want to gather maximum amount of donation to, contribute it to our PM's care fund, which is like a national dedicated fund to deal with such emergencies like COVID-19 crisis. So I want you to be with me and tell people that there is a QR code on this video. People can use their Paytm app to go there if they're willing to contribute, or there is a link for them to click. We'll give the details also later. I hope you also contribute, Srikanth.
Yeah, sure, I do.
Thank you, thank you. Now coming to your lockdown time, how are you killing time? You're in Guntur, that too. Finally, sports stars are always flying across the globe. How is it? Just staying home and not doing much. I'm sure you're practicing, working out, training, but otherwise, so much time after so long. Or first time in
Yeah, I
life.
think so. I'm basically working out for about 1.5 hours every day. That's the max I'm doing. And
Right.
then all the other time, I'm kind of spending time with my mother and father, or
Right.
probably playing some mobile games.
That's what is this? People had like a list. I'll learn a new language, I'll learn a new skill, I'll do dalgona coffee, I'll take all the challenges on Instagram. What special hatke are you doing? Nothing.
I'm not doing anything at all.
At
I'm really enjoying my time.
I want to swap my, position with you, and I like, okay, clearly not doing anything, you just want to enjoy your time.
Yeah, so this is so I don't normally get so much of free time. So basically, every time, normally it is about training and then traveling for tournaments. So we travel about 18 to 20 weeks every year.
Right,
So it is almost about 50%.
right.
So this is the time that I'm actually getting. I'm actually feeling like I have a lot of time in a day. So I
Yeah.
actually feel like there are about 48 hours in a day. So I'm kind
Wow.
of enjoying everything that I have. So I'm kind of really relaxing and not doing anything at all.
Thank you for agreeing to do this interview then. Thank you so much, and I'm eating into your time for that. But I saw this really cute post. I was stalking you online on Twitter. You were with a puppy or a dog, which was such a cute picture. Are you spending time with your buddies, like that, four-legged buddies?
Yes, so I have 5 of them here.
Yeah.
So there's about 4 Shih Tzus and 1 Lab.
What are the names? What are the names? I want to know the names.
So Lab is Max. It's a male.
Okay.
So Shih Tzus, there are male and female, Rocky and Angel. So their kids are Rhino and Dino, male.
How do you come up with these names? Just like that, randomly.
Random. So basically, Dino came out of my love towards Power Rangers. So we wanted it to be similar, so that is Rhino and Dino.
But I've always wanted to ask you this because I think I hadn't met you for a while when the world number one thing happening, and I'd interviewed you before that. And I think it was in 2018 when you won so many series and everything. And after that, I could meet you for a while and you became world number one. And I knew you wanted to keep improving, growing from there on. World number one, I'm sure, was in the plan. How was it when you got to know, okay, Srikanth Kidambi, world number one? I mean, that's like the dream. That's the biggest thing. How did you feel? I never asked you in any of the
Yeah.
interviews.
So, so I got to know about it like I think 1 week before it actually became
Yeah.
official. So that there was an article about it, about the world rankings. So one
Yeah.
of my friends sent me that.
Right.
But the thing what happened was 2018 All England I lost in the pre-quarters. So I was
Right.
leading 2018 and then lost it
Right.
in the third set. If I would have won that set, I would have
Right.
become world number one then.
Right.
So I lost it with that one point, and I was really upset because I couldn't really, take it. I had the opportunity of becoming world number one, but then I missed it.
Right.
So, so one of my friend sent me an article probably about 2 weeks or 3 weeks later that after that All England. So in that
Right.
article they've said that I will go on to become world number one next week after the rankings get updated.
Right.
So I was really excited to see myself there, and then I started calculating everything, and then I realized yes, and then but still it's a different feeling to see it there officially on the website,
Right.
and yeah, when I saw it there, I was really excited. I was just very happy, to see that.
Did you feel like, okay, yaar, finally it happened? Because it doesn't happen to anybody that easily. There have been only few, I mean, how many people can then they say that I'm the world number one badminton player? Not many in the entire world. Did that realization happen, or you were like, okay, I to became world number one now, but I have to work harder now? Were you like that only? Because knowing you.
Yeah, so that's one of the dreams for me to be world number one.
Right.
To be able to see myself there. I'm a big Roger Federer fan, and then every time you see his records saying, has been world number one for so many years, consecutively, I think that's a big achievement. So I always wanted to see myself there on top. And
Right.
then when I saw it, I was really very excited. And then, after I became world number one, the immediate thought was that, see, this is something I wanted to be, and I've become world number one. So I don't really care anything about rankings anymore. It's more about improving and then doing
Right.
really well. So and after I became world number one, it was never about, playing to become world number one. It was always about playing to improve.
Wow. Now tell me this, when you became world number one, whose message was like a pleasant, big surprise? Who tweeted about it or messaged you about it? You were like, oh my God, this person is reaching out to me times.
Uh, so, uh, so I met Sachin sir probably about 2 years before it happened. Probably I think after the Olympics in 2016,
Right.
and when I met him, uh, Chamundi sir introduced me to him, saying Srikanth has played Olympics, is one of the best players we have currently, and then he suddenly out of nothing he just said. Oh, congratulations! I'm sure you'll be the next world number one from India. I'm looking forward to see you. And then I said, "Thank you, sir. I really wish I can become." And then when I became, so he tweeted about it saying, "I knew you can do it." He actually tweeted about it saying, "I expected this when I last met you."
Yeah.
So all of that stuff. So I really felt very happy that he still remembers it.
Right.
So
Right.
it happened a long time back, and then he still remembers it basically. So 2 years
Oh,
later, he can still remember it. So
that is so
that's
sweet.
one big memory for me of being world number one.
But tell me this, you all badminton boys from Gopi Sir's Academy, you all look like good boys, but I have my doubts that it's just deceptive. You're all not that good because you all have an image built just for Gopi Sir. He should not have any doubts what you guys do in your own time, Volke. Do you guys do anything for Masti or anything in the academy? Because every time I've interviewed a badminton player, I've asked who's the most disciplined, they say Kidambi. Srikanth Kidambi is the most disciplined, Srikanth is the most disciplined. What is this? Yeah? Do you do some Masti? Huh?
But nobody told me that directly before.
I'm telling you. Who's the naughtiest? It's always Sai. Who's the most disciplined? It's always Srikanth.
So I always felt the most disciplined as Kashyap,
Right.
because so he was kind of 6 7 years senior to me, and then me when I was just finishing my juniors and then starting to play seniors, he was already there in top 20s, and then he was actually doing really well.
Right.
So he was that one player that I always used to look up to, and then I used to always uh, compare myself with him, and then that really helped me do well. So I always feel as one of the most disciplined.
Kashyap.
Kashyap.
I always thought he's the most fun.
So it's kind of the most funniest for sure. Off the court is kind of very funny, but
On
every
court.
time he's there on court, I think is one of the most disciplined. He comes on time. He actually, doesn't really waste too much of time when he's there. He kind of know exactly what to do. How to
Right.
warm up, and then how to stretch after sessions, what to do in between sessions. So that way is kind of very disciplined. So, but off the court, I think is really uh, one of the funniest people that we have.
Wow, fantastic. But tell me this, how is Gopi sir? You all are still scared of him after becoming world number one.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still scared of him. After everything, I think I've joined academy in 2009, so it's been more than 10 years, and then I'm still scared of him. He's like that principal of a school where even if you go now to your school and then you're still scared of him. So it's like that person to me. So even if every time I go to him, I'm still scared.
But do you think now, after all these years, especially after the last 3 years, because badminton has grown so much, Indians, have grown so much in badminton, it's completely like almost 80-90% mainstream that people know the players, the sport more than before.
Yeah, I think everyone really started to do well. For the last 4 years, and then I think someone or the other is continuously performing. So I
Right.
think that way, I think people started following badminton as a sport more than they used to do before 2016. So I think now people are following badminton, and they kind of know almost all the top players. So I think it's actually, in a way, it is really good that to see so many people following the sport, and then every time I go to some of the uh, shops or any of those openings, I think I see a lot of parents, you know,
Right.
coming in, and then they always wanted to know about the daily routine of a player. So I think the parents are showing that kind of an interest now. So I think it's a good sign for the sport.
Now, quickly tell me, you train with the best players in the world. The academy has almost all the best players in the country. So, if you had been given a choice, कि यार इसके साथ आप हमेशा train कर सकते हो, who would you train with?
Kashyap.
Kashyap. Wow. Who would you want to prefer to go out with?
Go out in the sense, in what sense?
To hang out.
So I don't normally go out and do stuff. I'm
Given
kind
it,
of
if you had to see a movie with,
in
to
home.
go to a restaurant with, come on, you always say this.
So yeah, so basically whenever we are traveling, I think in our tournament, I think we all go together. So we kind of try and go
One name,
together. So,
one name, one name. Give me one
so it's not
name.
that one name. It's like we kind of go out whenever we are in tournaments. So we might have different match timings, but we try and go with whoever is there. Probably we share room with uh, different people in every tournament.
So
So we try and go
diplomatic.
out with our roommates.
So diplomatic you're being, but I have a very not so diplomatic game plan for you. But before that, I want to remind everybody this initiative is to collect donation for our PM Care Fund to help all the COVID, warriors and the COVID-19 crisis. If you all wish to donate, there is a QR code flashing on the video. Please take your Paytm app and scan it, or you can just click on the link And please donate. Please, please, please do donate. And now getting back to torturing, Srikanth, are you ready for your not so diplomatic game? It's called Never Ever Have I.
Oh yeah, I think I am, but
You better be scared because this is the naughtiest thing I've ever played with you. It was always Sida Sada rapid fire rounds, or Satya Jhoot or something like that. But this is like a next level thing.
okay, okay.
Okay. I've also written it down. Okay, let me read it out. Read the questions out so that I don't miss out any of the good question. Never have I ever bunked a session.
I did.
I wish you had a glass of water or something to drink. Every time you said I did.
No, I did. I did.
Okay. Never have I ever lied to Gopi sir.
I did.
What was it about? I want to know.
About many things, he doesn't like me eating biryani, and then I end up eating a lot of biryani.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this
Then the
no sir.
next morning I go to him and say, no, I didn't eat biryani.
Only salads and badams.
It's like a rice, dal and stuff. No biryani, no, not at all. No masala
Never.
at all.
Oh, never have I ever cursed on the courts.
Cursed on the court.
Yeah. Out of frustration,
Apart-
anger, while playing.
Up- No.
You never cursed. You don't get angry on the courts.
I do, but why would I curse anyone?
Not at anyone, like maybe generally, in Telugu, nobody will understand. Never have I ever broken a racket. Like
I
in
did.
anger. In anger.
I did, but never in anger. But I did broke a lot of rackets while playing. Probably during my juniors, when I was playing doubles, I
Yeah.
really broke a lot of rackets, but never out of anger.
Never out of anger. What is this? You've been such a good boy. Yeah. Never have I asked.
I have a way of hitting or throwing rackets, so I know how to throw exactly how not to break them.
Skill it is talent.
Just
never,
talent, I know.
never have I ever asked a stranger out on a date.
No.
You need a
No.
wingman. You need a wingman. I should become your friend and tell you how.
No.
Never ever have I had a crush on a badminton player. It doesn't have to be Indian. Anybody.
Crush on a badminton player, but I kind of like few badminton players, but it wasn't like a crush. So when I was in junior, there used to be a Chinese women doubles player. So she used to play really well. Every time. So when I was in junior, it was like only the finals of a tournament used to be telecasted.
Right.
So every week on Sunday, I used to only see that girl playing the finals. So only she used to be there in all the finals. So I kind
Okay.
of liked her. The way she used to play basically.
I remember in one of the interviews, I don't remember was it Malaysia or Indonesia, you were going to play the Masters there, and I'd asked who is that one player from that place you want to beat. You said I've beaten everybody from that place. It's okay, I don't care. I want to beat Chinese players now. Is it still the focus like that? Is there any player you want to beat very badly?
So no, so there is. It is not about a specific player. It is about winning matches.
True.
So that is what I actually think about. It's not about the specific player or the kind of record that I have against him. But it is more about doing well that given day. That's all.
Ah. But it's always fun talking to you. I always ask you super serious questions about, how will you cope
So
with the
is
law
that it?
challenges. Come on,
Is
don't be
that
so
it?
happy. No, it's not. We also have to give a message. See, the naughty Kidambi is coming out now. No, but this was a very light chat we had for a very serious and a very important cause. But thank you so much because I know you're not very fond of interviews and media and all that. But you came out for the cause and you spoke to me for so long. Thank you so much. But let's give out a message to people if you had to tell anything to all the people out there about the whole crisis, the lockdown, the coronavirus scene. What do you have to say?
Um, so again, I think it is about people staying home. So I think the government is doing a lot for the for people. So I think it is up to us to take the responsibility on our shoulders and stay home, and then help this help kill virus basically. So and I think I would also like to really thank all the doctors, all the police, all the social workers who've been, really doing a lot of hard work for last about 30, 45 days or something. I think they've been really working hard. I think, I can still sit at home and say I'm actually having my free time and I'm enjoying it. But I think the people out there, I think the police, doctors, and all the social workers, I think they are working about 20 hours every day. I think they are doing the toughest jobs. So I think a big thanks to them for keeping us all safe. And again, I think I really want to tell everyone to stay home and stay healthy. I think it is really important that we stay home and then not go out for a random cause. I think it is really important that we go out only if it's really emergency. Uh, and yeah, I think the government is doing extremely well, and I think it's us who should really follow it. I think they've put the rules, but it's us who should follow it.
But thank you so much for the message. And I also want to tell everybody this is for a good cause. We are collecting donation for our PM Care Fund. All you have to do is to donate. Please, there is a QR code flashing on this video. You can use your Paytm app and scan it, or there is a link. Just click on it. Then, you can proceed to contribute, and Mahapar just fill in all the details, how much money you want to contribute and all that. Click on proceed and voila, that's it. You want to tell them, please donate.
Yeah, so everyone, please donate. I think it's definitely for a great cause, and I think every rupee counts for sure. So I think
Yeah.
you don't really have to really worry about how much you're paying, but be it even a single rupee or any amount in that cause, I think every rupee really counts, and I think we are donating for ourselves. You're not really donating for anybody else. So I think everyone, please come forward and donate.
Right. And thank you so much for being a part of 100 hours, 100 stars, a non-stop contribute to COVID warriors. Srikanth, stay home, stay strong.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm staying home. I'm not going anywhere.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Vanakkam, this is RJ Vinod from 94.3 Radio 1 Chennai, and today in this hour we have a creator, politician, Tamilan, Indian, and a great human, Ulaganayagan, Dr. Kamal Hassan with us. Vanakkam, sir.
Vanakkam.
Lockdown, and how do you stay positive and productive in these days, sir?
It's something that's been tutored to me by my parents and my family. So it's not only for times of COVID.
Welcome to another edition of 100 Hours, 100 Stars. Stars from every walk of life, every firmament. And I'm pleased to welcome today a friend and a captain of the industry who is incomparable. He's MD and CEO at Tata Realty and Infrastructure Limited, the excellent Sanjay Dutt. I'm just so happy to see you. How are you?
Thank you so much for calling me. Good to see you as well.
I'm going to start off by telling everybody who's viewing this session that this is for all our COVID-19 warriors, our health practitioners, medical practitioners who are there in the front line putting their lives at risk for all of us. We're supporting the Prime Minister Cares Fund. There is a QR code on this video as well as a link. All you have to do is scan that QR code or click on the link and fill in the amount that you want to donate, proceed to contribute. And then once you finalize all the details, you hit contribute. So that's what we want you to do, and just remember that. Sanjay, how's life been in lockdown? It's not easy. It's a new normal for all of us. How's the working from home experience?
Life is very different. But, it has its plus and minuses. So we were quite stretched in terms of work, and therefore to be able to spend time with the family some late realization of what you could have done in your life beside work, health, and many other things. The things that you missed reading, the music that you missed not listening to, some conversation with your colleagues that you always wanted to do but you didn't do it. Some thoughts to what wrong that we have done as citizens, or what we should be more sensitive about in today's world, whether it's nature, whether it is all those realizations, introspection actually has come in. So that way it's been very spiritual.
That's wonderful. And like I spoke to Ashish Hemrajani, who's the CEO and founder of Book My Show, Mr. Mariwala, who heads Marico, Mr. Velumani, who's CEO of Thyrocare, and all of them have different skills they have discovered. Ash says that there are nooks and crannies of his house that he didn't know about, and he's learned how to put washing machine fluid in the liquid, bake some bread. Dr. Velumani says that sitting up in his office is something which is very, very new, because he's always on the floor. But his kids say, listen, you're above 60, you're a sensitive group, not going to let you be there. Mr. Mariwala talks about all the new books that he's discovered. What has Sanjay Dutt discovered, a skill set that he's discovered or worked upon?
I believe all that you just mentioned, I discovered them long time ago, because there was always awareness. My wife, right from the beginning, after giving up her career, took up to look after the kids. We had 2 children, and we somehow never felt comfortable taking external help. So she would do everything, and I would always feel guilty that I'm not doing much. And therefore I started doing things just like anybody else would do at home. So, occasional cooking, washing of my own clothes, occasionally dusting and taking care of my room, many such things. And and last few weeks, of course, even more. So that realization was always there. But what I've learned new, I'm learning, I've not learned yet. So I picked up an old guitar and I said, how can I, which I always wanted to do and impress few of my friends, I can learn now and do something about it.
That's wonderful. Excellent. So do you go with the flow, Sanjay, when you wake up in the morning, or do you have an Excel sheet or a timetable saying this time to this time, Zoom calls with colleagues, meetings, this time to this time devoted to family, housework and things like that? Or do you just go with the flow?
Initial first 2 weeks were just hodgepodge. There was just no structure to it. We were trying to come to terms with whether we can actually work from home. But after that, things became a lot more structured. And I think most CEOs at the back of their mind, they always have this concern about business, taking care of their customers and employees and well-being, whether these circumstances will push us taking into some hard decisions. So to ensure that we come back and bounce back to normalcy, you wanted to make sure that you don't miss out the opportunity. So I spent a lot of time engaging with my colleagues to see how to overcome the challenges. So there's a big part of my life right now which is quite structured, to answer your question. But there are some pockets of time when I just throw myself out to take a break during the day. In fact, very recently we realized that we were perhaps overworking. So we were very excited with this new work from home and webinars, etc., etc. But I think we needed to slow down and take some breaks. So some kind of discipline over the weekend, especially related to work, we just eased it out. So, it's helping. So I think we're adapting.
Nice. A cooking skill that you have? I mean, are you a good omelette maker?
My favorite is sabudana khichdi with some haldi.
You make it yourself,
yes.
Huh? Wow.
Absolutely.
Got to get that recipe.
Yes, you should try my mutton sometime. So, and definitely love doing omelets. I've always been doing my own teas, which I love in the morning and in the evening, which, just 2 cups during the entire day. But you enjoy the experience of doing it.
Hint, when the lockdown is over, invite me over. for a meal.
Oh yeah, please, please. There's so many things to do after this lockdown gets over. Yes.
True that. Oh, what really is the first thing you're going to do eventually when the lockdown is lifted? What's that first thing that you can think of?
The first thing we've already done, Rishikesh, I think what we want to ensure, like many of our properties which are large in parks, IT parks, 40, 60,000 people are going to be working there. So we have redesigned our standard operating procedures. How do we ensure that people come at different time zones, different gates, so we minimize their exposure and risk? We're going to do the same thing with our office. I don't think we will be in a rush to bring all employees back into office. We have already decided that we will bring 50% or only need to be in the office basis, and therefore over a period of time take a view and then open up a little further. So I think those things are really occupying our mind right now. And the most important thing, of course, is how do we keep the business going, because cash flow is critical. And so a lot of thoughts around that, how to go about doing it.
But you've really taken responsibility, Sanjay, and you've risen to the occasion. I'd like you to talk about some measures you put in place very early on, when the lockdown was announced, what Tata Realty and infrastructure have done across the board for employees and the safety of people coming into these infrastructure projects.
So first of all, the group chairman came out with a very clear message to everybody in the organization across group companies that we need to take care of people. And people, whether they are employees, vendors, customers, there is no color. There is just one color. They all are people. We need to take care of them. We need to make payments of the vendors on time. We need to take care of all the construction workers. We have 6,000 workers, of which 2,500 are being taken care of on day-to-day basis. And thank God, we had very good labor camps. So they were very well managed. And we had doctors dedicated for them. And we had a staff taking care of their health in terms of training, development, entertainment, exercises, etc. So I'm very proud when I say that we have zero COVID-19 amongst employees. So nearly 1,000 odd people. We have zero COVID-19 amongst all 2,500 construction workers. And we have zero COVID situation so far amongst all our residential complexes, because we took a lot of measures early at the stage to ensure that we discipline and we regulate. And I think that is just so wonderful. So to head an organization where we incurred some measures earlier to be able to protect these people is just wonderful to begin with. What is even more important is to take care of the psychological needs of people during this time. So we have a lot of social platforms. We just launched a new app called Sociable, which combines all the social activities of social media and your private network within the organization. So it's bursting with news and personal messages and shares that people are sharing with each other. We've also launched within Tata Group a kind of a education program. So you can go online, do courses, certain skill gaps that you always thought, certain reading materials, etc., etc. So a lot of those initiatives to engage and not impose, but let everybody decide and choose how they want to go about it. And I think this has been very useful overall. We've also done a lot of engagement with our customers. So from top leadership to all the way down, everybody is approachable, and we're doing video conferences and we're engaging. And we also making sure that we do not push them too hard. If there's some payments are late, why not give them some break? And let's not rush into some registration formalities. The business as usual, we're trying to push, but we're trying to do that with certain humane side of the business attached to it, which is, I think, very important. So the culture of looking after the people, it's really coming out very strongly within the organization.
Yeah. And, in that aspect, it's been a while since we talked about projects. Even before COVID-19, real estate for housing was going through a bit of a slump. Infrastructure projects, however, were picking up in certain parts of the country. In other parts of the country were lagging behind. Tata's focus just pre-COVID-19, and your focus as soon as things start returning to normalcy slowly and steadily. What is going to be the focus areas?
So first of all, let me spend a few minutes on telling the world through this medium that real estate is not only about residential real estate.
That's right.
It is about residential, between residential, affordable, mid-segment and luxury and second homes, office, shopping centers, student housing, co-working, co-living, and to a very large extent, even senior living and hospitality. So you will be shocked to know pleasantly that in 2019, between Jan to December, India as a country did highest ever office demand in the history of nearly 47 million square feet of net office absorption only in 8 cities of India. The highest ever before was 42 million in 2008. And since then it came down and then it recovered and it's been doing well. So it's very contradictory to perception of real estate not doing well. All the commercial developers are rocking. All the private equity and fund managers are laughing all the way to the bank and making tons of profit. The REIT got listed and investors who invested in REIT, they made money, by the way. So very promising. And if you look at the impact of this, that means at least in the services space, job creation is happening in the top 8 urban cities at least. And if the job is happening, job creation is happening, if every 100 square feet person somebody is taking, the same person few years down the road will take 1,000 square feet of an apartment. So there is a rub-off of 50 million office on 500 million potential demand for resi. If not everybody buys it, even half of it buy it, even then it's 250 million square feet. So resi, which used to do 5 lakh units a year, may be down to 3 to 4 lakh square feet. Maybe we are selling more ready to move inventory. Maybe we're selling more affordable, but it's still selling to end users. Maybe investors and speculators are not there, but it's selling. Maybe because of COVID-19, there may be a freeze on capex by corporates and space take-up, and some decision-making may get stalled. So for a short period of time, the demand may come down. So clearly that we expect, and it's only natural, but because insecurities and concerns will rise depending on how long this lockdown and impact on the economy continues. Moving to all the other sector, which are warehousing and other, all of them were growing. And FDI in real estate was at all-time high. And more importantly, the investors are now far more informed about investing in real estate than they were 20 years ago. Right. So I think there's a lot of maturity and a lot of balance. What remains to address, and this is something which is very serious, is the legacies that most developers ended up inheriting, because some of them are very new to the real estate market. They're just 10 years old. And therefore, there are approximately 1.5 lakh to 2 lakh crore worth of projects which are stuck. They need last mile funding, and NBFCs don't have money. Banks are kind of scared to lend, even though liquidity in the system is high with the banks. And therefore, a lot of projects who are cash flow positive and who need last mile funding are not able to get it, and they're stuck. If we can somehow, with the efforts of the government and policies and the banks, which the RBI is genuinely trying, comes through, the residential you will see would also revive. So that's the state of the affair. But I believe post-COVID, as an organization, we would be very disciplined in ensuring that we run a tight ship. We not make unnecessarily expenditures which are not going to lead to any results. So for example, marketing expenditure, why release print ad when we go digital? Why not reach out have a targeted sales and marketing instead of just random marketing? Why not promote sales to NRIs? They don't even need to come to see the property. They already know the reputation of Tata Housing and Tata Value Homes and Realty. They can go online, look at our 3D videos and brochures and terms and price assured of quality. They can book online and I can bring cash flow. So a lot of those business initiatives, a lot of digitization, a lot of remote working is being embedded post-COVID. And I think that's what we're embracing as a business today.
That's lovely. And a little birdie tells me that one of your primary passions is jewelry designing. Now,
Yes.
I'm a radio presenter. I'm a journalist, man of the media. I need to see some proof.
I can share something with you. I've made a small slide.
Lovely.
So let me take you through. So first of all, I love jewelry more than my wife does. It's a secret. I don't know why. It started with an experiment 15 years ago. There was a jewelry at Zoya store, which is in Mumbai. It's owned by Tatas. And they had a very nice brooch, which I liked. But, we don't wear brooch too often. So I said, but this could be a good earring. And it was a wild thought. The person on the counter said, but this is too heavy for your ears. And I said, but I think my wife can pull this off. And we placed an order, we got it done, and it turned out to be a great, call, because my wife looked pretty and the piece was big and nice, and she just looked wonderful wearing it. Zoya came out with the smaller versions of it and retailed it subsequently, by the way. So I've not taken any royalty yet, but I'm glad something like that happened. It led to the jewelry piece you see in the middle. I call it a waterfall collection. So while it's lying, you can make out, but these are kind of a Basra pearls and with droplets at the bottom. So when you wear it, it shows like a water gushing out. And the strings are stitched in certain way that they are tight from the top and then they flow down. So it looks very pretty when they're, flowing like a waterfall. The two on the sides of this jewelry are basically Muranos from Italy, Venice, that I picked up. These are pieces which are traditional arts, blown glass ware, which is very unique art in Italy. They're normally used for, pendant on something, but I always liked experimenting, so I converted them into earrings. And like that, I've done 14, 15 pieces over the last 15 years and continue to do so. So I get inspired by architecture, I get inspired by thoughts, I get inspired by, the personality of an individual. So if you have a lines like this, for example, you can have two baguettes, rings flowing in the opposite side, showcasing your hand line into a ring, for example. Wow. Things like that. So it's random and sometimes it's customized to suit. And I do this to all those beautiful ladies out there only for my wife.
This is so beautiful. Let's come back to the normal view. Well, I have to say this, really, that I remember when we went as tourists to Italy, and we were taken to Burano, and I saw this senior citizen sitting there and blowing, the glass. I could never have imagined that somebody I know, somebody in my friend group, would be doing this. So I'm very, very, very impressed. Another thing that I saw this resplendent picture of you on an Enfield motorcycle. And to me, bikes and rock and roll go together. And it's so appropriate in this phase of your life. You're rediscovering a lot of rock. The picture of a biker is always reminiscent of, Born to be Wild and, Dire Straits, Money for Nothing, Heavy Fuel, songs like that. So rock music as well as biking. Let's talk about that.
Well, my dad was a police officer when I was brought up in Delhi. and we always had this Enfield, Royal Enfield with us. I was only 12 years old when my brother taught me how to drive and sit holding the handle. My feet won't even touch the ground. So I started driving Bullet when I was 12 with the help of my brother. And by the time I was 15, I was driving myself. Of course, still not legit without a license. So by the time I got 16, my dad was very courageous and he got me a YesD motorcycle. So I used to take YesD to my school. And since my dad was in police, I got away with many things at that point of time. So I've been a biker, and you're right, rock goes very well. But I interestingly missed rock during my teens and, times in colleges and early part of my life. It was mostly pop. And much later, I realized that I missed rock. And therefore, last 10 years, I've been completely immersed in rock. I remember coming to your studio, requesting you to play that song, Don't Stop Believing.
Don't Stop Believing, Journey.
Yes. So my favorite rock stars, I love a lot of guitar and heavy stuff. So Slash, Steinix, Steve Vai lately, of course, Scorpions and Dire Straits and Eric Clapton. I also learned Creed was the first supergroup where all the, guys part of that group, of which Eric was the part, was the first supergroup and inspired a lot of people. So a lot of history kind of intrigues me as well. So I'm completely involved in it right now. And I listen every night.
Wow, amazing. Clapton, Cream, those names just give me goosebumps. It's wonderful. Okay, we're going to play a small little game before we say bye-bye. It's called Never Have I Ever. Only 3 questions. Now, if you've not done this, then it's okay. I mean, you've not done it. But if you have done it, you have to tell me when you've done it. You need not take names, but you just have to give me the experience. So, never have I ever slept off during a meeting or a review. You've been in a meeting or a review?
Never.
Wow.
Never ever. Never ever.
Impressive.
Yeah, never.
Even if it's a boring presentation, you'll sit through it.
No. On the contrary, the boring becomes a very interesting subject to analyze why the hell this guy is doing this and become entertaining. So, but I've never slept. I may have slept in a movie, by the way, when things are not gone right, but never in a meeting.
Lovely. That's quite inspiring. Stolen from a fridge at night. By stolen, I mean it could be even your own fridge in the middle of the night.
Oh my God. I think I'm an expert. So this is the time when I actually I become the stealth mode in the night when nobody can notice. And the upper side of the fridge gives me the ice cream, the lower side gives me the drinks. And it's a combination. And then there are some boxes on the side table of my bed where in the night my hand reaches out without looking at it and it goes straight into my mouth, knowing exactly what I'm eating. So I'm kind of an expert on that front.
Forgotten to wear the same pair of socks, as in reached work or reached somewhere.
Oh, yes.
Different socks. You remember when?
Oh, yes, that has happened. Oh, yes, that has happened. I think sometimes you miss the dark blue and the black in a hurry when the lights are kind of somewhat not there. It happened with me even during a suit. So I wore a navy blue jacket and a black trouser accidentally. But, not everybody notices. And I think there are a lot of people who are colorblind in this world.
Well said. I mean, this is the time that we can't really travel, but wanderlust sets in. You sit in your armchair and think of all those wonderful places you've been to.
Yes.
A travel destination that you've gone to alone or with the family that you've really loved.
Well, my best trip ever was a month with the family where we did some Europe countries like Italy and UK and France. And then we went straight to Orlando where it was all fun. that 1 month was just fabulous. The second trip I had was my first, time in Tata's was I went to over New Year to London. And it was not London city only. It was 3 days the city and the remaining days countryside. And I drove myself and my kids drove the car as well. So that was really fun with the family. Since I do a lot of road trips with the family, we recently went to Udaipur. So food, dhabas on the way and a lot of travel, just the breeze that you see, the beauty that you see, and the uncluttered landscapes, which in the city you actually see all around you. But when you step out just 100 kilometers, things change. So I really enjoy that.
A captain of the industry, a business leader that you really admire, and why? You could choose multiple names or just one name. Somebody you really admire and why?
Well, it goes without saying right now, my group chairman, perhaps I admire the most, Chandra, because, he first professional to head the business in the Tata as a group. One of the inspiration why I joined as well. And making so many changes in such a difficult environment, it's just fabulous. And I know probably to pull that off in such difficult economic conditions globally, whether it's automobile, whether it's steel, whether it is many other businesses or even real estate, for example. So that's clearly one. I was very fond of collecting annual speeches, the annual general body meeting speeches. And one of my favorite was of Mr. Anand Mahindra. I really loved. I think his lighter approach to things and the way he sometimes uses Hindu mythology to business, just like Mr. Patnaik on the YouTube, if you've seen any.
Yeah,
it's just fabulous how you can take away so many, learnings from Vedas and Upanishads and Hindu mythology and apply in the modern corporate world. Fascinates me. Every leader who selflessly devotes himself are my, idols. So, and many of them are actually my colleagues reporting into me. So, fascinated by, I'm so glad that I'm surrounded by people who are far more intelligent and better than me.
Awesome.
And they inspire me every now and then. For example, I have a very strong HR person. Her name is Reena Wahi. And HR has been one of my favorite subjects from childhood. Even in my management program, I took HR as a subject beside marketing. And I believe, in real estate, there's a very famous saying, it's all about location, location, location. That's what everybody says in real estate. And I believe, I don't want to confront that, but I believe it's all about people, people, people. Because when you design real estate, it's the people who use it. And therefore, if you do not have any emotional connect and empathy, you can never be a good leader in all fairness. So for me, HR is part of business function, which is extremely important. In services industry, even more. So those are the kind of leaders who inspire me. I have one more leader, who's gifted on taxation and finance and many other things. And there's some guy who does great job on marketing. So it's never just the iconic figures. It's also a lot of people that surround you who inspire you.
So while you were in college, an MBA at IMT or during your undergrad or during school, any great memories that you can share with us?
Oh, yes. I have a friend from my management program. I did it from IMI Qutub Delhi.
Okay.
And his name is Harjeet Singh Rekhi. So he and I get along really well. Even today we visit each other and stuff. So, we will always be engaged in some conversations. And the professors will notice. And just to embarrass you, they will ask you a question knowing that you will not be able to answer because we were not paying attention. So So that would happen to us very regularly. And each time they did ask question, we pulled off the answer without blinking an eye. And my God, the jaws would drop of a professor and the people around us who know that we were actually chatting all this while. How did we do that? And those are the best moments that I can think of. And of course, during those college days, we didn't have PowerPoint in those days. Those were those slides you put on the projector. So spending those late nights at somebody's house doing slides and writing with a marker till 2:30 and 3, and next day going to work and 6 o'clock you're back on the stage. So it was just memories like that.
Lovely. A book that you've read that that really inspired you, a book that you'd recommend everybody who's watching or listening to get?
So many books and so many people who inspired me, but the one that came very close to how I thought I did business was Blink. So
Malcolm Gladwell.
Fascinating. Yeah, just fascinating. And I think we sometimes over-engineer these management principles. There's some very simple ways of doing it. First, you should have a heart with only one intent to do well for somebody. You should have well-meaning approach to everything in life. Don't have economic interest or vested interest attached to it. And then have the courage to experiment, have the courage to fail. And sometimes just do what you think is right instead of just overthinking too much. And yes, you will miss some along the way, but you will click many along the way. One principle that I've followed all my life is when you delegate somebody the authority, don't leave them to swim on their own. You have to go down and dive and hold their hand to see that you can handhold them to success for a period which is just about enough for them to there onwards excel and outperform themselves. And I think that has always worked for me. Beside the obvious thing, you see, there is no shortcut to hard work and learning and knowledge. You need to keep learning, which I think all of us don't, disagree with. These things matter.
Valuable insights there. For all of you who are watching, remember this is 100 Hours, 100 Stars, which is a tribute to our COVID-19 warriors. There is a QR code on this video and a link on this video. Scan the QR code or click on the link and then proceed to contribute. Figure the amount that you want to donate and then fill in the details and then hit proceed. And this will go a long way in helping our medical care workers. Sanjay Dutt, MD and CEO of Tata Realty and Infrastructure. What a wonderful session. It had insights, it had fun, and it just spoke so much about you. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Cheers.
Thank you. Yeah, be safe.